Snape said in Harry Potter, a mind is not open book that you can read at will. The Extraordinary Attorney Woo. And there are others which are genuinely talk about psychological disorders, and they talk the way it is. They don't glorify it. Whereas there are others like Bhool Bhulaiya, the first one where Akshay Kumar was. Now those glorify. Either which way, whether you're seeing a series or a movie, people suffering than people who are normal.
The YouTube series or the Netflix thriller You.
Yeah.
That was very misleading and that was very toxic. And you just cannot justify the character Joe Goldberg, given the fact that he had many psychological issues.
Manav Rachna is very well known for his sports psychology. We have one of the amazing sports psychologists.
One thing that students look for when they want to enroll with any other university. This is your host, Richa Thirian, and today we'll be discussing some of the most interesting topics related to a very interesting subject. But before we begin, let's start with a quick reality check first. How many of you have ever come across a reel that claims that these are the 5 signs that someone is secretly in love with you? Or maybe these are the 5 signs someone hates you? Or maybe, how to read anyone within 30 seconds? I must admit that we all might have watched such content, not because it's misleading, but because, it's interesting and it generates a lot of curiosity around it. But the real question remains, is it really psychology or just well-packaged nonsense? Because in this era of Instagram therapists and Netflix thrillers and Joe Goldbergs, the real meaning and the real essence of psychology is getting lost. And that is why it becomes a lot more important for us to create authentic awareness around the subject. And that's why, to separate fact from fiction, I am delighted to welcome Dr. Shruti Mishra, Assistant Professor at the Department of Applied Psychology, School of Behavioral and Social Sciences, Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies. Ma'am, I'm glad to have you on the show.
Thank you, Rita.
Dr. Shruti brings over 2 decades of experience, having worked with global companies like AC Nielsen, Millward Brown, and Quantum Market Research across India, Southeast Asia, and the MENA region. Her work gives her a strong understanding of human behavior, especially when it comes to youth and decision making. So, ma'am, to start off with the first, let's come to the biggest confusion that the students have around the subject psychology, because a lot of people, and not just students, a lot of people think that psychology is just mind reading. So what do you want to suggest, or what do you want to explain to these such statements?
Okay. Psychology is basically a basic science which tells you or give you the clues as to why you do what you do. So it gives you the foundation to understand that. It tells you how a person will behave, what will they do, and if the behavior is deviant or different from what is expected, the reasons behind it. So it gives you that kind of an understanding that is required.
Okay. But ma'am, what actually psychology subject is? If you had to explain it to someone naive, what would you explain that be?
It's a science of understanding human behavior. It is a science. It's not mind reading, because like Snape said in Harry Potter, a mind is not an open book that you can read at will. It is basically understanding the cues that is already present in the environment and understanding the reasons behind it. So it tells you that and why. Yes.
Okay. And ma'am, coming to the second biggest confusion.
Yes.
A lot of people are still confused between a psychologist and a psychiatrist.
Okay.
So if you can explain between the difference
between a psychologist is somebody who has done their psychology and is somebody who can give therapy to you. A psychiatrist is somebody with a medical degree who has later taken up psychology and is pursuing that. It's somebody who can give you medication as well. So first step in any field would be, you first go to your mentor or your teacher or your parent and ask for guidance. From there, you move to a psychologist who can then give you therapy. If that also does not work, because there are times when there is something wrong chemically. There is a chemical imbalance that I might say that needs to be corrected. That is something that a psychiatrist can do by giving you medication and bring that balance that is required. So that's, and it's not the difference. So a psychiatrist will not treat you by therapies, and a psychologist will not give you medication.
Okay, so in a gist, a psychiatrist is someone you should approach when you want medications.
It's not when you want, when you need medication. When, say, if you have to go for a surgery, you'll go to a surgeon and you wouldn't go to a general practitioner, right? If a bone is broken, you'll go to orthopedic. And similarly, you go to a psychiatrist when medication is required. You go to a therapist who will treat you through therapy. So you have different kinds of therapies that is treated like that. Because certain times you just need behavior modification. At those times, you don't need to take medication. So there's no requirement.
Okay, ma'am. So what's one psychology myth that you would really wish that people would stop believing?
That psychologists can read your mind. They can't do that. They are just understanding you. They see your body language and then react from it.
Okay. And now we have talked what psychology is.
Yes.
Let's come to Netflix psychology.
Okay.
What Netflix psychology is.
Yes.
So many shows and dramas and
Yes.
have made psychology look very intense and very
Yes.
dramatic.
Yes.
But is it the real case? Is it the real life that a psychologist lives by?
You know what? There's a lot of reality that already is there. There are certain series like The Extraordinary Attorney Woo. And there are others which are genuinely talk about psychological disorders, and they talk the way it is. They don't glorify it. Whereas there are others like Bhool Bhulaiya, the first one where Akshay Kumar was. Now those glorify. Either which way, whether you're seeing a series or a movie in its authenticity, or it is just talking or touching upon an issue, a psychological issue, in either which case, it is important because it brings certain issues to limelight. You are aware because of certain things, right? Tare Zameen Par, the new one that has come up. Again, it talks about what is possible, what is not possible, but of a small section of society which we feel is different, and they're ajeeb, if I may use the word, but they're not. They're part of a society, and the inclusivity that we talk about, we don't actually practice. But when you practice it, you understand the fact that there are more people suffering than people who are normal, and all of us have our own set of battles.
Now, most of the content that I've consumed, that has been misleading in the name of what psychology is. So I think that is where something we should draw the line between this is fiction or is it a fact?
Okay, what facts did you find that was misleading?
I don't know, when you consume the YouTube series or the Netflix thriller You,
Yeah.
I think that was very misleading and that was very toxic. And you just cannot justify the character Joe Goldberg.
Yes.
So, given the fact that he had many psychological issues.
Yes.
So, I would suggest that that was very, that was very disturbing for a consumer, for a viewer to watch.
I'll tell you an interesting flip side to it. And thank you for bringing up that topic. That particular series, when it was brought up, it made a lot of students curious. And in Manav Rachna, we have something called the supervised independent learning, where students take on a project and they work on real life cases, or the cases that are popular cases, as I may say so. A lot of students actually took up that. Now, what do these series, movies, what is the purpose of it? Entertainment, yes, but also education. The very fact that you're making young people curious to know more, you've done your job. At the end of it, that's what the job of all these platforms are. And when they start digging in deep, they know the real reason. They find what is a solution, what can and cannot be. So they've done their job, right? They've made the young people curious. So you might say it's misleading. As a psychologist, I think it's educational. The moment it makes you curious, it's done its job.
That's true. Correct.
Yeah.
And now, ma'am, there's another term that is surfacing a lot on the net, and that is dark psychology.
Yes.
How to influence people, how to manipulate people,
Yes.
how to play mind games.
Yes.
But the same question again, is
Yes.
it not misleading and is it not toxicity rebranded as good psychology?
Yeah, absolutely. When in human history, if you see, we are social beings, we live in a society, and even during our grandparents and great-grandparents era, everybody uses certain amount of manipulations that goes, right? Because you want people to be like you, dislike you, yeah, or you want certain things to be done, I want to get your way, whichever the case may be, you use certain techniques, right? Now, there are techniques in which when you understand, if you do certain things, you can help people. So the way you sit, how you interact, how you intimidate, there are ways in which you can. Like they tell you that when you're looking at somebody, the eye contact is important. Why? Because then the person knows that you're listening to them. If you are distracted, I mean, if your eyes are moving everywhere, you know the person is distracted and not paying attention to you, is just talking for the heck of talking. Now, what these dark psychology, you've again rebranded. It's a marketing term. It's, you are a marketing person and you understand how it works. So those same techniques, it's not something new information that you're giving. It's just been packaged in a way that is attractive to people, and therefore you will. If I just say psychological tips, you will not go through it. It's like, it's something that is boring. The moment you say dark psychology, it sounds mysterious. The moment it sounds mysterious, you want to know what it is and you would want to open the package. Mystery is something that always fascinates us, right?
I mean, you look at all the novels that Robert Greene have written.
Yes.
These are all manipulation tactics in just disguise of, making your things...
Getting your way.
Getting your way,
Yes.
yes. But ma'am, psychology is a huge field. It's a very vast field.
Yes.
But there are only one or two branches that students are aware of.
Yes.
Can you put a light on what all other branches that are related to psychology?
Okay. Wherever there are humans, wherever they're in the world, okay, there is psychology involved in it. So here in Manav Rachna, because we're from Manav Rachna, let me just talk about it. And it's same for most of the fields in most of the universities. You have consumer psychology, where you understand why you pick up a brand. When you have an array of mobile phones, why do you pick up a particular mobile phone or a particular model when you have different things that is available? So it tells you that. So not just mobile, it goes for anything that you buy. There is forensic that nowadays students are really gaga over, and that fascinates people. There is criminal psychology. There's sports psychology. Again, Manav Rachna is very well known for its sports psychology. We have one of the amazing sports psychologists, and we work extensively with during the Olympics and the Special Olympics and all of that. We're closely working with them. You have fashion psychology. You have industrial psychology. You have organizational psychology. You have personal management, HR. Anywhere and everywhere there is humans, there's psychology. You have psychologists in NASA. You have psychologists in industries, in any brand that you name. Nowadays, even during the hiring processes, there are psychologists who take certain tests. So a very popular test that is there is MBTI, where you actually find the best match that you're looking for. So there are different kind of personality tests that are administered, and so there are people to administer those. You have in school, so school guidance counselors, your psychologists, all of that we know. But apart from that, all of them are there.
Okay, ma'am, if I may ask,
yes,
what's the difference between applied psychology and clinical psychology?
Okay, clinical psychology is when you're understanding the disorder. So the things that are deviant behavior that I talked about, something that is different from normal growth developmental that happens, and you understand the reasons. So abnormalities is what you study, and how to overcome those abnormalities, and what are the ways in which you can help. Applied psychology is that you understand theory. So there is psychology where you understand the theoretical part of it. So you understand the different kinds of theories. That is, applied is when you have a hands-on experience on understanding the same theory. So you do it more practically, and therefore you understand the same theories that is there. So like yesterday I had 2 sessions, one with Scottish High and the other with Sun City School in Gurgaon. And we had a session which is called Gestalt session. It is an hour and a half. We go through different activities and then we explain the principle of Gestalt, which is sum is more than its part. You know, you see things in holistic, so there are different parts. When you put it together, that's when things make sense. So when you teach somebody through practical application, the understanding is better. So most universities now have applied psychology and they don't just teach psychology. We are becoming more and more narcissistic because of the fact is that we all live in silos and isolations. Even in our office setting, instead of having landscapes, we all have little cubicles that we stay in. We don't interact as much unless it's a very transactional. And even when we are interacting vis-a-vis a wall that is there. And the wall need not be a physical wall. It is mobile phone. It is your emails. You have your social media. So these are just nothing but walls behind which we hide, behind which we feel that, we are safe. We don't want to be vulnerable. The moment you have your psychology and you understand the psyche, you understand yourself better. Your empathy level rises because you're able to understand what the other person is going through. You understand the stress level that the person must be going through. You understand the fact that the challenges that they would be going through and the mask that they are wearing. 90% of the time, we are all wearing masks.
So, ma'am, what if students, what's the one thing that students look for when they want to enroll with any other university? What are the characteristics or what are the features that makes the study of psychology interesting?
Okay, there are two different questions you asked.
Okay.
If I'm getting it corrected. Okay. Yeah. And the first thing you asked was, what is it the university offers? And the second thing that you asked is psychology.
Psychology interesting.
Interesting. Okay.
Learning psychology interesting.
Yeah, learning psychology. So I'll answer the first question first. Is you need to understand the young people today are competing not just with themselves. They're not competing with people here in India. They're competing with the people across their peers across the globe. So their competition is that much more higher. For the same position, there are hundreds, maybe thousands of people competing, right? So they have to be the best version. So when they're looking at a university, they're looking for that immediate skills that is required for them to be successful. And it's not just knowledge. Knowledge, all university provides. Knowledge is something that they can get off the net as well, right? They're all the time on the net. So what they're looking for is something more practical. They're looking for experience. They're looking for exposure that gives them a practical experience. So any university that provides that kind of an environment is what they're looking for. So that's the first thing. The second thing you asked is, what is about psychology that fascinates that psychology has to offer? Look, psychology still is a mystery. Most of the people, they take conventional subjects because they know that there is a set path that they can go, secure future and a set path that they can follow. And they will reach a destination which is easy to reach, and therefore they'll be able to have a secure life. Now, Robert Frost's roads, less taken, less traveled, where he says, the roads are lovely, dark and deep, and I have promises to keep. Now, if you understand that, psychology is like that jungle, the road that has been traversed and less walked on. So when you're going on that journey, it sounds like a mystery. So people are attracted to the mystery because it is fascinating. It's uncertain. You never know what will come your way. So once they get into it, they realize that the journey is not just knowledge, it's an exploration of self. It's an exploration of finding out what your strengths are. And I'll just give a few examples here when I'm talking about it. That during this exploration here, I've had a few students who have moved into being a DMT expert, dance movement therapist. The other is does expressive art. She's an expressive art therapist. The other became a rapper. One of my students just passed out. He's just become a graduate. He's become a rapper. There are others who are into photography and loves photography. One of our ex-students is doing extremely well in that field. So they explore their own journey, they explore themselves to find the skills that they have and find an avenue that will help them enjoy a vocation, that pays for them as well. So that is the kind of journey so psychology gives you that leverage that is there. Apart from that, it also gives you some traditional fields like counsel. You can become a counselor, you can become a guidance counselor, you can become a psychologist, and we train you for that. So in Manav Rachna, you have a lot of courses that are there. You have MPhil, we have certain master's degree, we have a PhD. So in psychology, we train you for all of them, and we train you in different fields. We have people who are carving a space for themselves, right? And psychology provides that platform that you require to excel in a hobby or a field of your choice.
Your favorite psychologist in one line, and why?
Okay, that's Carl Gustav Jung. That's a no-brainer.
Okay.
Why? Because he talks about conscious, he talks about the unconscious, he links mythology, and it's just fascinating because I love mythology. I love the facts that myths play such an important role in our lives. So yeah.
And what's that one must-read psychology book?
One must-read psychology book. The Denial of Death. I was just reading it. Pretty interesting. But a hard read. It's not a one-sitting reading. Yeah, you need to take pauses in between to read it.
One show that gets psychology right?
Extraordinary Attorney Woo.
Okay. And one that gets it wrong?
Bulbulaya.
Okay. One concept that everyone should know about psychology. One psychology concept that everyone should know.
You know that your rituals that you perform at home has more psychology in it than anything else.
Okay. And one social media trend about psychology that you find annoying?
Any negative portrayal. So anything that talks about, don't do this and don't do that, and that is a no-no. That's a hocus.
Okay. So I'm looking ahead. How do you see psychology evolving in the next 10 to 20 years?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to digital behavior and AI coming in the era.
It is interesting that you ask. Because of these Netflix series that you talked about earlier, because of that, there's more awareness among people. So the more awareness there is, people are looking for solutions. Now, going out to an expert might be more tedious, and you might feel judged because we haven't reached there. These AIs then become a mediator in between to get us quick stopgap arrangement. It shouldn't always be, but for immediate solutions, they help you. And then you need to understand that the more people get educated in the field and the more they understand, this field will grow, and people will be looking for specialists. People will be looking for people to help them out, and will understand that these are just like your physical issues. You have emotional and mental issues which need to be treated, and therefore you're going to it. So yes, there is a chances of psychology booming because of the awareness that people have and the curiosity that it creates. So yes.
Okay. So ma'am, that was it. And thank you so much. I had a lovely time discussing psychology with you.
Same here, Richa. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, ma'am. So if there's one thing that I've understood today is that psychology is not just the Instagram reels or the content that you consume. It's much more than that. It's all about understanding human behavior, including your own. And it's a life skill now, as ma'am said. So if this episode in any way made you see psychology more than just content, then maybe exploring it could be the next step. But before we wrap up, what's that one thing that stayed with you from this episode? Please drop it down in the comments and we'd love to hear from you. This was Manav Rachna Podcast, and we'll see you the next time. Thank you.